Have you ever been sick or had a sick kid and realized that you cannot think straight? You know there are things that can help, but in the moment, your brain feels foggy and putting together natural remedies feels like too much. Today, I want to talk about why having things ready before everyone gets sick is what actually makes natural remedies work.
Welcome to Chronic Illness Moms. If you're more than just a tired mom, I'm talking trying to make it through the day without crashing by noon while raising neurodivergent kids, you're not alone. I'm Ashley, a wife, mom, and certified health coach. I have lived with autoimmune disease and flare-ups that made everyday life feel harder than it should. After years of pushing through and burning out, I learned how much stress, poor sleep, and nervous system overload were driving my symptoms. Everything changed when I started building small, realistic habits that actually supported my body instead of fighting it. In this podcast, you'll learn simple habits that help you to feel better. So pop in your earbuds and take a break from the chaos. It's you time.
Hey friend, welcome back to Chronic Illness Moms. We are in the time of year where everyone is getting sick. And if you're anything like me, you're not just thinking about getting sick, you're thinking about what's going to happen afterwards. Because when sickness hits, energy and mental clarity are usually the first things to go. Brain fog is going to show up, decision making gets harder, even simple things are just suddenly feeling really overwhelming. And that's why today isn't about learning new information or adding more to your plate. It's about really focusing on having a few familiar remedies, natural remedies ready to go for the days whenever everyone is sick and you don't feel good as well and you can't think clearly. So, there have been times whenever I've really wanted to focus on working and using natural remedies whenever we are not feeling well. And what I've experienced is that let's say I had a few ideas. I had been researching some stuff, had this great plan in mind in theory, but then sickness would come in our house and I realized something really important. I was not struggling to really rely on these natural remedies because I didn't know what to do. I was struggling because I could not think clearly enough to decide what to do, to recall all of the things that I had read previously. I was tired. I didn't have energy. I couldn't think straight. And so maybe one kid wasn't feeling good. Another one was struggling and not sleeping well. And I would just be standing there thinking, okay, what is it that I've read before? What is it that helps? What do we have? What should I try first? And that stress and then the hesitation meant that often I ended up feeling paralyzed and then forgetting all about those natural remedies that I was planning to use during our next round of sickness. That's whenever it clicked for me. Natural remedies really are only working for me and something that I can recall and remember to use whenever the decision and the plans have been made before anyone gets sick. This is something that I actually help moms think through inside of my coaching program, and it's not really something that we want to be complicated. It's something that, let's look at the really practical ways, real life ways that you can create these natural habits. And then also, how can we plan ahead on things that we want to do? We have good intentions. We want to use these natural remedies, but a lot of times we haven't made the decisions and the steps prior to the event to really set us up for success. So we want to look at, what are you dealing with? How is your body typically responding whenever you're sick, when you're having a flare, anything like that, and then decide ahead of time what support makes the most sense for you. So you're not trying to problem solve on the days when you don't feel well, when you just don't have the capacity to do it. If you want to learn more about working together, you can find that at ashleybraden.com/coaching, or you can look at the link in the show notes below. Okay, so let's talk about creating a game plan where you're going to have some really familiar options that you feel comfortable with on hand and ready to go in case anyone's getting sick. And the reason why I say it's something that you feel familiar with and comfortable with is because, let's say you bought the really nice options of natural remedies that you want to use, but you haven't read up on them. You have no idea how to use them. Have no idea what the purpose of the product is. You don't know what the benefits are. You don't know at what time you should use it or how often you should. All of that. And then whenever you're in the middle of sickness, having to decipher all of that information and create a plan, honestly, it just feels impossible. So what can we do? What small plan can we create that's going to increase the odds that you are going to be able to comfortably pull those natural remedies out whenever everyone is feeling sick in a way that just feels like, okay, this is something I'm comfortable with. I know what I'm doing. I don't have to question or think about it. It's just kind of almost like a habit or just a reflex to pull these things out and use them. So I want to share a few things that we use in our home that I think will be helpful to you. And again, this isn't me telling you you need all of these products. It's just me giving you some ideas of a starting point. And then you look at your own life, your own family, and then decide what works best for me and what are a few things that I can start with that I know I want to keep on hand for this kind of my emergency natural remedy cabinet. Okay, medicine cabinet. Okay, so the first one for me is whenever flu-like symptoms are hitting. So this is usually like, okay, someone's not feeling well. Someone's starting to maybe just feel off, body aches, fatigue, chills, just generally not feeling well. This is whenever I reach for oscillococcinum. And I like it because it's very gentle. It's familiar. It's a homeopathic. And I don't have to think too hard about whether, it's something that is, it fits into what a child needs. We know that it's great for flu-like symptoms. And so for my kids, if they're having body aches, I've had great response with that for them as well. And especially whenever you have kids who can't necessarily explain what hurts, why they feel bad, you just can tell that they're not feeling well. If you have a child who's not verbal, then having this on hand is a very quick, simple remedy that helps me to act early instead of waiting and second guessing and trying to figure out what's going on. And an added bonus for this is that it tastes great, so my kids love it. Okay. Another thing that we use whenever our bodies are just feeling achy, restless, or we're having a hard time settling and sleeping. So this is one of those moments, again, where I'm not wanting to have to try to problem solve what we should or should not use. I want to make sure I'm giving myself and my family things that are going to support our bodies. Magnesium is something that's going to help relax muscles and also support just that stress response. It also is great at supporting and aiding in detox, which matters a lot when your body is already uncomfortable and you're fighting off sickness. So that is why I keep magnesium cream close. I do also use other forms of like oral magnesium, but I do love having our magnesium cream. It's something that we use, consistently in our home. And it's something that I can just easily reach for, if there's sore muscles, if someone's just generally feeling off. It's just a small support system for us that makes it easier for people to sleep, to settle, to get through the discomfort of sickness. So I do make my own magnesium cream and I also sell it. So if you guys want to learn more about that magnesium cream that I use in our home, then I will share that link in the show notes below. Okay. Then whenever I just want general immune system support overall, I focus on things like elderberry. So this is something that I do make a tincture for my kids, a glycerin tincture. And it's something that I reach for whenever something's going around, when we know that, okay, people at the therapy clinic or at school or whatever have been fighting us off a bug, then it's something that is really nice to go ahead and just be using that as more of like a proactive support for their immune systems, because I know my kids have likely been exposed to something. And it is traditionally used to support the body's immune system. And also it's just one of those things that, especially because I'm using it I have previously used it as a syrup, but I've started to now work on getting a tincture. But it's one of those things that's just really easy to give to my kids, which is nice because it's not like a big fuss thing. It's something that tastes okay. So it's not a battle for me to get them to take it, which is nice too. Another thing that is really nice is raw honey. So of course we know this is very soothing. It can be really comforting for sore throat, for coughs, things like that, any kind of irritation. And what I like to do for myself is I will actually add it into like an herbal tea. My kids don't necessarily want to drink herbal tea, but if I go ahead and give them that honey in something like in a drink or something like that, honestly, my kids would just take a spoonful of it, and because they love the taste of raw honey. But it's just something that's really simple to have on hand. You can just get it at the grocery store. Most kids are going to tolerate taking that just fine. So that's very, very beneficial. Another thing that I keep on hand is cod liver oil. Now, cod liver oil is rich in vitamin A and vitamin D, which are both going to help to support your immune system. And, especially when we look at vitamin D during the winter months, when we're not likely going to be as exposed to the sun, for me, that's really, really important. So it's something that I like to keep on hand as well. The last thing that I keep on hand, of course, this isn't my complete list, but this is just my starting list for you guys, is lymphatic cream. Now, we use this cream a lot. Like if my kids have a stomach ache, if they have like slow digestion or they're dealing with constipation or something like that, if someone has sinus congestion, if there's a headache, if there's any kind of ache or pain or anything like that, sinus pressure, ear discomfort, like a swollen lymph gland, anything like that, we use it for. And the thing is, we know that the lymphatic system is going to help to clear waste and support the body whenever it's dealing with inflammation or sickness. So when you're feeling sick, you're run down, or you're under a lot of stress, anything like that, especially if you're sick and you're just laying around, then that means you're probably not up moving your body around, which of course we know is how we get lymph flowing through the body, is through movement. So things can start to get a little bit heavy and kind of backed up. This cream is really just designed to have a gentle support for the lymphatic flow and circulation, especially in areas that kind of get more congested, especially when you're not moving as much. So I like having this because it's something, again, it's not a lot of energy for me to apply this to my kids. And my kids actually request it. One of my sons calls it the cream. And whenever he has a stomach ache or just a random pain, he wants me to put the cream on him. So around the neck, the jawline, the face, behind the ears, we've done it on the abdomen. I've done it like if I have a random sore like area on my back, or if I've injured my back actually, or anything like that, I have applied the lymphatic cream there. It is something, of course, that I do make for us as well, and I do sell it. So I will share that link down in the show notes below for you guys if you want to check it out. But it's just this really simple way to support your body when you are dealing with sickness and when things are maybe feeling just a little bit stuck as far as your lymphatic system goes. Now, I just want to say, keep in mind, when you are sick and exhausted, your brain is just not in decision-making mode. So having a few familiar things ready ahead of time is going to really go a long way to making sure that you're giving your body those natural supports that, most likely, knowing you, that is your goal, is you want to support your body naturally. But in the moment, if you don't have those decisions made ahead of time, it just feels like too much. And I also want to say, you don't need all of this. You could start with one or two things. I encourage you, start small. You don't have to look at the whole list, but say, okay, what is one or two things that I can keep on hand? And I'm going to get comfortable with those things and make sure that I'm feeling confident in using them. I feel like they're doing something, that they're actually helping us during sickness. And then once you feel comfortable with those, you can begin to add to your list over time. All right, friends, I would actually love to hear from you. Tell me, what do you guys use whenever you are dealing with sickness in your house? What natural remedies are kind of your go-to remedies whenever you are battling sickness? You can either come share in our Facebook group, which I will post down in the show notes below. I'll share the link with you there. Or you can email me, message me on Facebook or Instagram, and share what your favorite natural remedies are. All right, friends, that is all for this episode. I'll see you back next time.
Hey friend, I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, would you take a minute to share it with another mom who's struggling with chronic symptoms? And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me to know this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to go tackle those snack requests, and remember that a short walk, even if the kids turn it into a race, still counts as self-care. Keep chasing those little wins. Even when it feels messy, you're making progress. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. I'm not a doctor, and this podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any condition. You're the expert on your body. Listen to it and reach out to a trusted provider for support.